Hello and welcome everyone to the OVRC. Welcome to round 2 of the OVRC ACC GT4 Series. I am joined once again by Owen.
Hello everyone.
We are joining you at a sunny Zandvoort circuit, unlike 2 weeks ago where it was quite the opposite. Bit of a change, obviously, so hopefully this time no much more wet surface this time out, as Christopher Verstappen parks his car on the side of the road. Do you want to quickly run through the standings there?
Yeah, so leading the GT4 Drivers' Championship right now is Mike Stoffmill, followed by Ryan Mawson. And Kovalainen is in third. In fourth we have John Dalton. And in fifth we have Christopher Verstappen. In the team standings, leading is Virtual Drivers by TX3, which is just Mike Stoffmill with 100 points. Flying Husky Motorsports is in second with 80 points. That's just Ryan Mawson. RQR is in third, and that is Anton Kovalainen. I don't know if he has any teammates. He does have a teammate, named Stephen Higgins, but he hasn't scored any points yet. In fourth is Baguette Box Racing with 54 points. So that presumably consists of, that's Robert Nygaard and Sebastian Bernier. And in fifth is WND Motorsports with 52 points, which consists of course of Mark Whitford and John Dalton. And if you want to check out the full standings, you can do so at the link in the description. And also we have the top 10 on screen now, so that's a new thing we've implemented for this season.
Future is now.
Wow.
Right, so we're now starting qualifying. 20 minutes of it, as currently right now John Dalton, I believe, is leading the pack of cars going around. We've currently got 26 cars in the session right now, so I believe that was a bigger session than last time, as we had 17 finishes last time, but I don't think it's really counts due to the fact that how wet that race was. We did have 23, so we've got about a few more cars this time around. Always good to see. It should be interesting. Obviously, dry qualifying once again. It's going to be interesting. These, I believe it's Mawson behind in the Aston Martin, so you might be a bit stuck up behind the BMW, but he's not backing up. He's going to have a bit of tow, so you might be able to use that as we are going to ride on board with John Dalton for a lap of the Zandvoort circuit. So head down to the start, finish straight. Be careful of the pit exit here as you hard on the brakes for turn 1. There's Tarjan Botch. I probably botched that name up. You go through these all quick little sweepers here. Just avoid the wall here. It's slightly banked here in this corner, and then you start to head up a bit towards the back stretch as such. It's not really straight though. It's quite up and down, so quite fast as well. Full throttle all the way. Tap the brakes, bounce the car around. And a bit wider, John, but managed to keep it off the gravel. You get another quick tap of the brakes into Master's corner. And into turn 9. Quite a slow section of the track. And then we go quickly into turn 10. We have a quick little sprint down. Hard on the brakes here for the little chicane. I believe it's for the LDS. And the final corner now. Obviously nowadays it's re-profiled to be a bit more of an oval turn. And then you're on to the start finish straight. Let's see what sort of time John will set, as he sets a 1:44.7.
Yep, immediately Ryan Mawson, who was right behind Dalton, took the lead with a 1:44.7. And then Mike Stoffmill has now taken the lead with a 1:44.4. We're seeing a bunch more times coming in. Mark Whitford of his slow lap, 1.8 seconds off the pace.
Grant Smith jumps up to provisional pole at 1:44.0. He's getting a bunch of tow for one of the KTMs. Can't tell exactly which KTM that is, but gained a lot out of that as Marcus Lawrence slots into E2. Time board filling up very quickly right now.
Sebastian Brunier is about to cross the line. Let's see where he goes. And he moves to P13.
Thomas Olsen off the track there. Got in way of one of the other cars, as well. One of the McLarens, appears for Verstappen, off the track there as well. So people are struggling into turn 9, it seems. Quite easy from the flick before. It's quite easy to run wide down to the grass, and you have no grip out there. So just gotta be a bit careful. Now heads into the chicane.
And look, Line just came out of the pit lane and immediately went into the gravel in turn 1. So that's a great start to his outlap.
Mark Stokes crossed the line in P1. So we'll Tom Potter's very shortly as he's in the back of cars right now. We'll jump up to P4.
Very nice improvement for him. Jordan Grant Smith is improving right now. Currently in P2. See if he can keep this pace up and possibly take P1. John Dalton is also improving. Dalton currently in P7.
People improving their times right now. But Whitford's a second up right now on his time. So he will be definitely going to get out of his low position of P16 right now. His teammate
he's
up in
right
P7.
behind his teammate. Check at least. Dalton going around the final corner now. And let's see where he goes once he crosses the line. He's still improving. And he moves to P4. Let's see where Whitford goes. And Whitford to P10.
Mike Stoffman was behind Mark Whitford there, but didn't gain anything out of being in the slipstream. As Wanzu will cross the line and moves up to E7. There's going to be quite a lot of improvements across the board still, as we've still got tons of time left in qualifying. We're about 12 minutes exactly actually left.
Yeah, Vante Molliet is currently down in P17, but he is improving by about 8 tenths on his delta now.
You can see where he ends up as he's now going into the chicane section. Mawson's looking to improve his time as he was in practice one of the higher cars, and nearly a second off the pole sitting time.
to make some good improvements now as Molliet comes around the final corner and will cross the line with quite a nice improvement, moves up to P7. And Mawson goes to P5. Stuffmill to P3, I think he was already there, but he is getting closer to the top 2.
Yep, he is now within half a second now, although just before he was just over it. Quite a lot of yellow flags. I don't know if it's just people parking their cars up or people actually just struggling to keep the cars on track. Obviously, it's not the easiest track in the world. Not much runoff. It's very much grass, gravel, wall around here, so not much chance.
So Tom Pottage is off in, I think that was turn 1. So he has gone back to the pits. And the P6 for Tom Pottage. I think he just outbroke himself into turn 1.
He did set his last lap was the fastest lap, so he possibly... So, he kind of missed it, or he could have spinned it on purpose just to get back out of the way.
That could also be the case.
Never know, really. That's, two cars are currently in the pit lane still. Most cars are out on track, which is not the best, really, around here. It's quite a...
Just seems to be found in Molliet in the pits now, so it's quite busy on track.
Man, it's a very short track as well, so it's not much clean air.
Yeah, well, if you look at the track map, you can see a bunch of groups close together, although some people have managed to find a gap, luckily.
When you get your distance right, you can actually get a bit of a slipstream going around, but it does require you to be in that area.
Got a few more people in the pits now. A few people just making mistakes on their laps. Not a lot of improvements being made right now, though.
Gonna start getting into that stage of qualifying where improvements are probably a bit hard to get now. We will see a bit of a rush once again as notice that Grant Smith improved his time. And if you noticed that, maybe he did. Maybe I was not paying attention. As Takata Kovalainen proceeds to drive off the track. Turn 9. Well, his teammate is trying to improve his time as well.
Max Stuffmill just starting another lap, still in P3. Let's see if he can still make a chance for the top 2. Max Stuffmill, although he usually wins races, he's not always on pole position. He mostly wins based on his consistency in races.
See if he can cross the line and moves up to P14 with a slight improvement in time.
So not really anyone out there improving right now. I think we have a bunch of people on outlaps as well.
Grant Smith is trying to push his gap between pole and P2 a bit right now, as he's got a slight improvement.
Yeah, just trying to extend his lead further. Stuffmill going towards the end of his lap, but not really improving so far. Let's see if we can maybe gain a bit of time through the final corner. Doesn't look like it, not seeing any improvement on his delta.
starts with. Bought his lap after going a bit wide.
Softmill did improve by about half a tenth, so not by much. And on Kivalainen slightly improving right now in P8.
Still 6 minutes to go. A bit of time left. Kovalainen loses it out in the last bit. I'm wondering if the fact that he doesn't have a slipstream is affecting him. Because obviously he might have set a slipstream on one of his timed laps, which gained a bunch of time in the final sector. Obviously not having that will make it harder to do so.
Mike Softmill is 2 tenths up. It looks like he might be able to do something on this lap.
Oxygen as well is also improving his lap time.
Softmill still 2 tenths up as he goes into the final corner. Let's see if he can challenge for the top 2.
He's holding it.
He goes onto the main straight now, still 2 tenths up, so he could maybe take P2 here. And he does.
Tom Pottage is about half a second up right now as he's heading across the start-finish line now. He moves up to P4.
A great improvement for him.
Rico Hasse is improving by quite a significant amount, down all the way down in P17.
Yeah, he is.
Up.
Christopher Verstappen in P15, also improving by 3 tenths right now. But above that, there doesn't seem to be anyone improving right now. Does seem like everyone's out on track, but struggling to find any improvements. As Rico Hasse crosses the line, and he moves up 1 position to P16.
Verstappen is trying his best to improve his time.
Yeah, half a second up now.
Only McLaren in this race. Yeah, got to carry the brand forward as he goes a bit wide there before he enters the final corner. It's so easy to run wide at some of these corners, but you dip your wheel into the gravel, you lose actually quite a bit of time. You walk across the line and we'll still move up to P11.
Thomas Olsen improving, moves to P4, ahead of Tom Pottage now. Pottage also improving, just came through the first part of the track. Jordan Grant Smith also improving in Sector 1. See what Mike Softmill is doing right now, as he is on the back straight, so he will get time to do 1 more lap, try and challenge for pole position.
Not a lot of time remaining in the session. if you're not
Marcus Lawrence in P3, just trying to get a bit more of a gap, it seems, as he will also have time for one more lap.
not out on track right now, you won't have a chance now to get another lap in.
Yeah, you have to pretty much be at the latter half of the track right now if you want another chance. Marcus Lawrence has started one more lap, as has Mike Stoffmel. No improvement so far in the first sector. Jordan Grant-Smith is slightly improving in the first sector though. Oh, Mark Stoffmel's off. He went off the road. Looks like... Yeah, not sure if he got anything wrong on the brakes there, or maybe had just a bit of oversteer or something. Or he may have just abandoned that lap. It didn't look like a big moment to me, but he did end up in the gravel.
That might stop his chances of being on the front row, as Marcus Lawrence is improving his time right now.
Yeah, so he might still take P2.
As Grant Smith is also improving his time as well.
Yep, seems to have lost that improvement through the last corner though.
Both of them have.
Yeah, we'll see what happens on the straight. Stoffman and Lawrence are very close together though. So we'll see what happens as Lawrence stays in P3.
Grant Smith improved and will take pole position.
Yep, Stoffman will take P2. And we'll have Thomas Olsen in P4, Tom Pottage in P5. Jordan Wansink in P6. Jeff in P7. John Dalton in P8. And 9th will be Anton Kuvalainen. And 10th will be Ryan Mawson.
Your time's on the screen right now. Surprise result. Mawson, pole sitter last race in GT4, down in P10. Mark Whitford also had a poor qualifying, starting in P15. Christopher Verstappen down in P11. So some people out of position from where they normally are in the OVRC. So be interested to see how they fight through. Yeah. Grant Smith on the pole. Let's see what he can do from that position. So as the end of qualifying is done, and the race begins, or the start to the race begins.
Yep, everyone lining up on the grid. Conditions not looking as sunny as they were before. A bit more clouds overhead, but doesn't seem to be any rain though. It shouldn't affect things too much. Although looking at a bit of info we have, it looks like there might be some rain happening 30 minutes in.
Interesting to see what does happen. Obviously, the track will be a bit cooler than the qualifying session. Obviously, practice and qualifying are simulated as such on the same day. Race is on a Sunday, so obviously the weather conditions can change quite a bit between the race and the practice qualifying sessions. Yeah, we've got 2 minutes until we're going, so driver to be preparing. If it does rain, we might see some pit stops, because obviously the session normally is just no stops, keep going, unless it rains horribly. So
Yeah. We'll have to see how severe it's going to be.
it's worth noting that Marcus. So the top 3 are very close in qualifying. It'll be interesting to see how the race pace goes. Obviously, Mike Stoffmill very consistent. If he gets in front, there's not much going to push him out the way. He's not going to make mistakes. Grant Smith, bit unknown. His last race in GT3 ended unfortunately due to a disconnect from his internet. Marcus Lawrence, he, I believe, won an OVRC season. All the way back in our season. It was back in the race room days. He won a season in the Nissan. So, you know, it's good to see him back again, but he is looking very strong there in his BMW. He's sitting in P3. Then behind him is a big old pack. Behind them, Thomas Olsen, Tom Pottage, Wanzig, Jeff, Dalton, Kovalainen, Mawson, Verstappen. They're all very close to each other. And yeah, again, Mark Whitford out of position. Sebastian's quite far down as well. Milliot's alright. Nygaard's about where I expect him to be. So yeah, it should be an interesting race, I think. Yes, we've got 17 seconds until the cars will start to roll. Oh, the rolling procedure begins. In case you missed qualifying, that is the starting order on screen now, up to P24. Good mixture of cars this race this week. Yeah, it's really an interesting race to see at Zandvoort. Zandvoort always produces an interesting race generally, if not quite tricky to overtake around here outside turn 1 really, so
Yeah,
I'm looking.
well, it's produced some interesting races for us though. I remember certainly had a few in the touring cars in race room.
So the most memorable one was back here when we did our first ever broadcast, I believe, for the GT series, and Thomas Janssen did the undercut of Tom Pottage, which then gave him the win after he's couldn't overtake him back. So that was one of the most memorable OVRC moments at this track. And yeah, unfortunately, Thomas Janssen is not racing today. He would have liked to. He was very much tempted to bring the not MC12, the Maserati. I keep thinking Maserati MC12, different car, very different car. I don't think MC12 would be exactly fair in this race.
No, not really.
I think it's got like an extra 100 horsepower and way more aerodynamics, you know, and bigger tyres. It'd be fine. Just some weight in it. So half the formation lap done.
Yep, just getting onto the back straight now.
Yeah, it's definitely threatening of rain, it looks like. How early it is in the morning, so it's not game night, it's 9 AM. So I don't think it's going to get nighttime anytime soon. I think there's a possibility of rain, at least there's cloudy conditions for the whole race. It's now open the mini back straight now, I believe the cars will start to move into the 2x2 formation.
It is apparently 20 degrees out there, so it is a fairly warm day. But yeah, there's definitely some clouds up there.
So as all begin to line up onto the grid. We're about to begin race 2 of the GT4 Series. So they're all slowly lining into their box. 26 cars will start. Let's see how many people will finish as the flags go green. And we are racing. And a good start there by Mike Stoffmel. Might give him the advantage, possibly, as Lawrence looking down the inside, but Swift takes a very defensive line there and then cuts nearly across it. And that somewhat allows Marcus Lawrence to have another go. Stoffmel. So far, so good. As one of the BMWs there on the grass there.
Oh, there are a few cars off at the back of the grid. Andy McRae is one of them. And Dendo is also off the track.
Oh, there's a bit of a shove there right at the start from one of the KTMs onto the Camaro. Just watching the replay now. What's happened here as we head towards the next corner. Bendo's, I think, wiggles a bit on the brakes there and hits McCoy's Aston Martin around. Hopefully not too much damage on either car as they will try and continue again. That's the first incident so far, but most cars are trains already forming. Good start by Mark Whitford's got him up into P11. Over line's lost a few places.
Lawrence is pretty close to Stoffmel in the slipstream on the main straight. So let's see if he can do anything into turn 1. He moves to the inside and he backs out of it.
Ooh, Stoffmel takes it very deep there, but does get a better exit, but a bit out-braked himself there. Luckily Marcus was not there completely to capitulate on it. So far, so good for Grant Smith as he is attempting to make his getaway.
And Bottage is very close behind Thomas Olsen, fighting for P4 right now. See the Astons of Jeff and Mawson as well, as they are having a bit of a go at each other.
As the KTM goes a bit on the wide there, Vonzig and possibly ask Dalton back through as Mawson cuts from the outside to the inside line to chicane. And looks to go around the outside of the other Aston, but the Aston stays in front of the Aston. The Aston. I was going to say Aston in one sentence.
We are back onto the main straight again, and the Astons are slipstreaming each other.
As the Aston goes for the overtake on the Aston, as the Aston takes the defensive line. It's Mawson, I think. Can't get quite round there. As
Who's getting spun around there? I think it's Thomas Olsen.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, I'm watching a replay now as watching from the perspective of Tom Pottage. Kind of right behind the Aston. I don't avoid saying Aston even when we're not talking about the other two. Let's see what happens here. So we're coming to turn 1. Tom Pottage a bit quick into there and just taps him around. I think that was really on purpose. I think it just happened. And I don't know how far back the other one's gone. I can't remember which one that was. Tom Pottage is now stuck between Mawson and Jeff.
Seems like the two Astons now have a Mercedes in between them. Or should we call them all Mercedes, because they're all Mercedes powered?
Oh, there's a bit of a pile-up behind as... What is going on? Thomas Olsen gets stuck with one of the... Possible... Can't work out which one that is. Was it James Butler's? Tomorrow? I can't really tell at this point. Thomas Olsen all the way down P21 after that spin, so... Bit of a painful race for him.
Butler's Camaro is looking pretty rough, so it was probably him. So Dendo's is looking rough as well.
Well, I think Sampido's all clipped through it. Whatever happened there was a bit weird. Yeah, I don't know what exactly happened there. Ooh, everyone gets a bit slidey into turn 1. Has to go 3 wide right now. Oh, what's going on here, guys? Be careful, please. It's the BMW there of John Dalton, followed by Tom Potter with Jeff and the Aston, followed by 1.6 KTM. All getting
there's a bit of touching between, I think, Dalton and Jeff.
These cars are called Grand Tourers, but you don't need to put a touring car into that part, please. That's very much this pack of cars is very much glued together right now. Jeff is looking to go down the inside. Ooh. I believe that's how possibly the Dendo's Camaro got spun around, was by one of the cars taking a lunge down the inside there.
So we have a very close midfield right now. Seems like the top 3 are kind of separating themselves from the rest of the pack.
Yeah, one sort of stuck currently behind Mawson is the leader of this pack, and if Pat's not careful, they're going to get caught up by the cars behind them, and then it's going to get very interesting indeed. And if that weather warning is true, it'll be quite interesting indeed.
They're all going down the main straight right now. The BMWs had a bit of a look, but didn't decide to do anything. Mark Whitford that was. So he is now side by side with Verstappen. So he has to fall back behind through these tight corners.
Sector 1 seems to be the place where everyone seems to be bunching way up again with each other. Looks for the inside there.
Mark Whitford, oh, bit of a touch with Verstappen. As it does look like he could take the position here. And indeed he does. Can Verstappen still come back at him? No, it doesn't look like it. He might get overtaken by Kovalainen as well. He will stay ahead of Kovalainen. Just had a bit more speed on the straight.
Pottridge is currently behind Mawson right now, and Mawson is the slower of the cars here. He goes very wide there.
John Dalton is very close behind Pottridge as well. We could have these 3 cars maybe fighting each other into turn 1. Looks like Dalton wants to try something. So Pottridge goes side by side with Mawson.
Does lose the position.
And, that's allowed Dalton to come through.
A bit late on the brakes there for Tom Pottridge. Mawson is trying to get away from this pack, but now John Dalton is the next car behind him now, and he's going to possibly try and have a go at him. The next few laps or corners or whatever comes first in this rate, given how closely packed these cars are. As Olsen goes off the track. He joins in the front of the KTM of Wanzig.
Yeah, though they are very close together. So 10 minutes into the race now, and we've already had plenty of action. People still very close together.
Lawrence is keeping that gap to Mike Stoffmill. Now John Dalton is leading the pack.
Yeah, he's got Tom Pottage right behind him though on the main straight now. Let's see if he can catch enough of a slipstream. Doesn't look like he will.
Dalton weaving a bit around. Try and break the toe.
Oh, Whitford seems to have had a bit of an issue. And he is stopping. He is stopping on the outside of the track. So possibly some kind of electrical issue with his wheel, and he's retired. So Mark Whitford is out of the race.
Yeah, he just seems to be braking to turn one and just halfway through the corner just misses it and parks up. So I don't know exactly what's going on there.
I'll probably hear from him pretty soon. So keep an eye on Discord and YouTube chat.
He needed to finish this race because obviously he used his
Drop round.
Drop round at the last race due to the weather conditions. So looks like he had the best start to the season in any of the series right now. His teammate is trying his best to beat the behind him. Olsen is P17 right now in his way, he's trying to get back through the field. Pack's not braked off of the two Hasse cars. So those two are together, especially behind them. There's a big gap to Webb. Seems to be quite far behind now. Webb, I believe, started quite far down the order, so he managed to gain a bunch of over there. Now has Olsen behind him.
As Grant Smith has lapped his first car. One of the Camaros obviously had some trouble earlier in the race.
So
Dalton and Pottage still quite close together.
So Olsen gets in front of Webb. Now he's got 30 seconds to catch up to Sebastian Bruni up ahead. Nygaard is right behind Verstappen again.
Whoa,
Well,
I heard a gunshot.
oh. I don't hear anything. The spookiness of me shooting someone.
Who did you shoot?
Oh, it's just this dead guy now beside me. He keeps appearing every time I do a broadcast. And Tom Potter is trying to get around the outside of John Dalton. Can't really do it. I don't actually know what causes it. I still haven't worked
Listen
out.
back to the stream. I don't think it was caught on stream, but I did hear it through TeamSpeak this time, which I don't hear normally, so something weird's going on.
I blame ghosts. They infected my audio interface. So Lawrence is closed the gap onto Mike Stoffel. Stoffel is losing time. It's one of the Janettas in the pit lane. I believe it's Steve Higgins.
Yeah, it is.
He had a rasher issue.
I'm not sure. Looking around his car, I don't see any damage.
We'll never know what really happened, but Lawrence is right behind Mike Stoffmill. And there's quite a gap with John Dalton behind these two.
Stephen Higgins has disconnected. So clearly some kind of issue there, maybe a technical issue. So someone was off the road in the Audi S, one of the Aston Martins. I think it's Molliet. Yeah, it is. Briefly off the road there.
He's back on it again.
Nygaard has now fallen behind Kyffelainen.
Behind him, you can see the two Porsches.
Yeah, that's Rico Haase and Sasha Haase. Yes, it looks like Rico went a bit wide there. Mark Whitford has reported himself on Discord, and he says RIP engine. So clearly some kind of mechanical fault there.
Did he over-rev the engine?
Maybe, that's why I'm asking for clarification.
Did he over-rev it? I was like, do a hard gear change. So, Percy. I know the Mercedes AMG GT3, if he at Monza, if we don't shift off into 6th gear and just leave it in 5th and hang it there, it will eventually kill the engine just by over-revving it. That seems very quick into a race to kill the engine as we approach the 10-minute mark.
Oh, Bottas really close behind Dalton now. Might actually be able to make a move into turn 1 this time.
Being interested to see can he get good exit. Dalton gets a very good exit there. And it's weaving all the way down the start-finish straight.
They're all over the place. But no move for Bottas there. Stoffman and Lawrence are still really close together as well. As Grant Smith has a 2-second gap to both of them.
Yeah, that gap between front two seems to open and close as I possibly just saw a rain spot on the track.
It is, according to the weather graphic in the pulse screen, it's supposed to start raining right around now. As yeah, I think I saw some drops there.
Yes, it's reporting rain on the track. Track is going to start getting wet, so the curveball will be thrown. How bad will it get? Not entirely sure, and will anyone be caught out by it?
So our screen is saying 10% rain right now.
It's quite a bit less than the 80% rain we had last time.
Yeah, so it should be pretty light for now at least. We'll have to see how that progresses through the rest of the race.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting question.
The rain is appropriate for Zandvoort around this time of year.
So far, most people are sort of maintaining gaps and not really making overtakes as Robert Nygaard's dropped even further back.
Yeah, he has dropped quite a bit. I think that may have happened a while ago. Because he had a decent lap last time around.
He's dropped behind his teammate, so two Alpines are together. Soon to be an F1 team.
Yep.
And LMP1 team. Don't ask how they're getting the money.
Seems like Renault is investing more into the Alpine brand.
Satisfying. I understand for the endurance side of things, but for the F1 side of things, I don't know. Seems a bit weird to market a small sports car that hard compared to supplying Renault.
Yeah, well, we don't know what they have planned for the future of Alpine.
Alpine SUV coming soon. It's just one the
I
A110.
would not be surprised.
It's just Alpine
electric SUV.
Oh, that is the future now. That is the future.
After the lightweight sports car, electric SUV.
Because we can't make electric sports car. SUVs. I could go into an SUV debate right now, but I will go refrain from it because my views on SUVs are interesting.
Oh, Bottas went off the road. Bottas is off the road, loses a position to Mawson. Just stays ahead of Jeff.
A replay of what's happened here. So let's just brake late on the brakes again. He lost the last position. So he's on the back straight. Dalton starts to weave. Oh, he just outbrakes himself. There's a bit of rallycross, and joins in front of the Aston of Jeff. So he's got to redo all that work again.
Yeah, outbraking in turn 1 is quite a common occurrence. I've been to the track in real life a few times, and I remember particularly in the Porsche Cup cars there were quite a few people going off the road in turn 1.
It happens all the time. I think once it was not quite the same situation, but in DTM once a car went straight off out the pit lane. Obviously they don't have tyre warmers. So the car went out, locked up, went straight in the ground track immediately. That was out lap. I believe the pit lane is changed now, hasn't it? It goes round the corner rather than just dumps you into turn 1 apex. Because of F1 originally planned to go here this year. Until obviously COVID happened and Yeah, unfortunately that's all been put to a hold till next year, I'm assuming. Meanwhile, Nygaard, right behind his teammate Sebastian Brunier. I believe they're teammates. They're both driving the same car. And they've got similar liveries, so far one's yellow. Nygaard looks to go down the inside. It's quite respectful between those two, but then it's not really surprising, given the fact they're teammates.
So, just looking at the weather forecast again, it looks like the light rain is going to remain for a little while longer, and then towards the end of the race it's going to clear up again.
Yeah, it's quite going to stay a bit alike of this. I don't think it really will change.
So Tom Pottich looking to make the move on Mawson. As they are on the back straight now, going towards the Audi S. Yeah, we're side by side in the last corner. I don't know exactly how that happened, but it hasn't quite worked out for Pottich. So he'll now have to try and get closer into turn 1. Stephen Higgins is reporting he's had some real life issues he had to attend to, so that's why he's been forced to retire. So that's a shame. Everything is okay.
Obviously, real life, personal life is more important than sim racing, as much as it saddens some people, you know. Sim racing is a hobby at the end of the day. It's important to keep it that way. It's close to the gap up to Mawson as Dalton is slowly making a bit of a getaway right now. Actually, not having a car at the Mercedes right behind him is probably helping that a bit. Track has increased by 2 degrees since the start of the race. Shows what happens when you have cars driving over the track.
Yep. We still just have 10% rain. But the rain has not really increased since it first started, and it looks like it's going to clear away pretty soon. That doesn't seem like these conditions should really affect the drivers too much.
Well, it just gives them an excuse for when they obviously eventually someone will make a mistake and they say, well, it's wet. Lawson takes a very defensive line to turn 1, goes a bit deep. Doesn't cost him position, but does allow Pottich to get closer once again. You can tell it's not even wet enough for windscreen wipers. That's how unwet it is right now. It's just teasing us with rain. It's a yellow flag somewhere on the track. It's cleared.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened. Maybe someone just going off the road.
He's trying to make his way around the outside of Mawson.
Oh, he's looking to go down the inside. No, he isn't. Backs out of it. I think you can overtake into that into the S, but it's really difficult. So you're probably better off just maintaining the gap for the main straight and then trying to catch a slipstream and overtake into turn 1. As Pottage has lost a bit of time through there.
So just over half the race is completed. And so far the pecking order is mostly the same for the last few minutes, outside of a few off moments by certain drivers.
Pottage has now gotten ahead of Mawson. Just looking at the replay, because I didn't catch what happened there. And Mawson went into the gravel in turn 1. And that's allowed Tom Pottage to take P5.
You can see, you can blame the rain. The 10% rain we got right now. I'm out. I'm not driving this right now, so... I don't have much experience sim racing in the wet. Obviously spending most of my time in racing and iRacing, which don't have rain. I don't know how it actually is like an ACC. You're going to try it at some point. To understanding what the drivers are going through. There's this quite clearly lack of dampness on the track, really. Lawrence has dropped off quite a bit from Mike Stoffman. The gap is 1.6 seconds. Last time I went for a timing beacon.
Yeah, so Stoffman was 7/10 faster on the last lap. So maybe Stoffman has picked up the pace a bit.
Quite possibly. Tom's also closing the gap to Sebastian now after a very early spin with Tom Pottage. He is making his way back up the order. Quite far down the order, so you need to overtake quick. So you've got 26 minutes to try and get back up, especially to the top 10. He will still score points this race, even if he does finish where he does now. But obviously, the higher you are, the more points you score. That's just common sense. Trying to close the gap right now. Ooh, it's a bit on the edge there.
One thing seems to be closing the gap to Jeff. They're fighting for P7. KTM versus Aston.
So this is a cars out behind Mawson. As Tom Pottage is closing the gap now to Dalton again. looking for possibly making an overtake, but can't really get the acceleration or the exit there to make it happen. Tom Percy just slashed the gap in half. Sebastian is probably trying to not let Thomas Olsen get past. As I now head down towards the start finish straight.
Olsen had a look down the inside of Brunier, but even he wasn't close enough to try and make a move on the brakes. As Verstappen, Kovalainen and Mulliet are pretty close together now as well. But they're all fighting for P9. You can see them all on the back straight now. But Kovalainen was a bit later on the brakes there.
Does seem like Verstappen is struggling a bit with pace this race. Being quite able to keep up with the pack in front as he's 8 seconds behind.
So let's see if Kovalainen can try anything into turn 1 as they are weaving all over the straight. And it doesn't look like Kovalainen is going to be able to do anything here. Oh, they touch. They are side by side. They touched and they are going side by side into these very tight corners. Another little bit of a touch there. And Kovalainen is ahead now. Oh, goes off the road a bit there. Well, he stays ahead. That might have cost him some momentum though. Although it looks like Verstappen may have had to hit the brakes there as well.
Jeff has got in front of Mawson. Verstappen is, of course, the long way around. That's going to allow Mulliet to come up through the inside, and he does slip in front. So, Verstappen a bit forced out there by a series of events. Oh,
just hits the grass with the rear there. And he goes off the road a bit. Car behind him is a lap behind, so you don't really need to worry about that.
Because the fighting goes on sometimes does mean that you lose a lot of time to other cars where you would normally be quite faster than them. Kovalainen, after working all that time to get in front of Verstappen, now falls behind and loses 2 positions out of it. Verstappen just remained where he was, effectively.
Jeff and Mawson are weaving all over the main straight.
Again, once again, behind Dalton. I don't know how much he'll be able to do at this stage, as he is desperately. So far, every attempt he's made to get in front, Dalton has so far ended up with him somehow behind.
Oh, Jeff has spun around by Mawson. Looks like they had a bit of a touch there, and that's allowed Wansink to pass both of them.
Ooh, tap there into the high-speed corner. As, yeah, allowed One's just slip in front of both of them. Still all pointing the right way, so...
Like, one thing just about avoided that collision as well. Spottage and Dalton are, again, very close together through the final corner. Let's see if there might be anything happening on the straight into turn 1. Spottage is trying to catch a slipstream.
Pulls away! That is, yeah, we're looking to go down the inside there, but the BMW's got such... just in the straight, just pulls away.
Yeah, Spottage is a bit faster in terms of lap times than Dalton right now, but just can't make the move. Does seem like the straight line speed of the BMW is really helping out John Dalton right now.
That's only the thing. I mean, a good straight line does make it. It's very good to have that in a race compared to Carl's corner. Because the differences are massive. You can't really do anything with the extra corner grip. Like, he doesn't have quite enough to go around the outside in corners and stuff. He still has to follow him, but in a straight, the BMW can just get away.
Especially at this track where there aren't a lot of overtaking opportunities, you really have to make the most out of that straight. It's a very short straight as well.
And the acceleration of the BMW just means it can just pull away, essentially. Which makes it very, I imagine, quite frustrating for Tom Bottas right now behind. Overline has closed the gap onto Verstappen now, and one of the fastest cars is also grouped up onto that pack of cars. The rain is still just lurking about, not really threatening much more than it already is.
We've got quite a large gap between Stoffmel and Lawrence now. We did have very similar times last lap. I wouldn't say that fight is completely over yet for Lawrence. Might still be able to pick up the pace, but he has 3.7 seconds to make up, as the gap between Grant Smith and Stoffmel is nearing 6 seconds.
Grant Smith has done a bit of a Stoffmel in the sense from his last season. Just get in front and make that gap happen.
As Dalton and Bottas are going onto the main straight once again. It will lead to the same result as last time. They are again weaving. And Bottas stays close behind. Not making any moves there.
Watching the on-board Kovalainen, and he's right behind the McLaren. He kind of again just pulls away from the Ginetta in the straight. There was absolutely nothing Kovalainen could have done better about that, apart from having to overtake him in one of the twisty corners, because I think that just seems to be where the McLaren is weakest. And again, as you say, this track is just so hard to overtake at. There's only one really safe overtaking option, that's the straight. And when you can't get close enough in the straight, what else do you have? Coming on quite late on the brakes then, attempting to brake from the ground. Now he's got the Porsche Rico Hasse behind. The other Hasse car, he's got Nygaard behind him. And 6 seconds behind them is Thomas Olsen, who's still trying to recover from the very, very early spin. I imagine we'll probably protest that.
Kovalainen is still threatening Verstappen. And Rico Haase is still involved in that as well. So we still have a pretty close fight for P10. Behind them you can see Robert Nygaard and Sasha Haase pretty close together as well. So there's still some fights going on. As the rain is about to clear up. Not that the rain should have affected things too much, if at all.
I don't think it did, outside of just giving it a false sense of hope that it might be a realistically wet race, but it didn't happen. What actually happened was we had some nice effects from some raindrops, but not enough to actually make anyone actually care.
Yeah. I mean, those little raindrops probably got killed by YouTube compression anyway.
I mean, the fact that no one put any windscreen wipers on just showed enough how it is. I mean, Nygaard into the slot. Nygaard is having a go.
Yeah, they were just side by side, so let's see what he can do on the straight.
Two mid-engine cars
together. Yeah.
Porsche is a bit more top end. I mean, that's somewhat the issue about GT4 racing, really, is the cars are even further apart in terms of characteristics compared to GT3, which just means that there's a lot more situations like this where if your cars go, ooh, saying that, Saturday goes to go a bit deep then, possibly allow Robert Nygaard to make a move, but not quite.
Yeah, I think the GT4 Cayman does run the Boxer's 6-cylinder engine, whereas the Alpine has a 4-cylinder.
Turbo.
So
it sounds like a TCR car.
Yeah, exactly. It's basically, I know the road car is basically, I think, the same engine they used in the Megane RS. Only it's mounted in the middle there. So they're, you know, they're two quite similar cars in that they're pretty small and mid-engined. But they have very different engines. A naturally aspirated 6-cylinder versus a turbo 4-cylinder.
I think the Alpines is quicker in the corners. The Porsche has a bit more straight line grunt, and that just makes it harder to overtake. It's just this case, it's this issue that some of these cars have. I mean, they're probably fairly balanced, but they just create quite frustrating situations if you're in one of these quick in the corners cars versus something like a BMW, the Cayman example, where you just can't get past them.
So we got a bit more info on Whitford's dead engine. He was trying to avoid hitting someone in turn 1, over-revved on the downshift, and it went pop.
That sounds like shoddy BMW engineering, to be fair. I mean, downshift protection exists for a reason. Not working. I'll ring up BMW right now and say I demand a new engine. Just under 9 minutes left to go, and the order between Tom Pottage and John Dalton has not really changed.
Oh, I think there was something happening there. And that's just Griffelainen and Verstappen still very close together. And Robert Nygaard still close behind Sasha Haase. John Dalton and Tom Pottage still doing the thing they've been doing for a bunch of laps now.
That's about 30 minutes of it right now. They're basically just following each other.
Yep. The retirement seems to be Tom Pottage faster through the corners, but then can't overtake on the straight. That's going to be a very annoying, stressful situation to be in.
Oh, Tom
We'll try and not push too hard and avoid making any mistakes.
It's quite easy for Dalton. Dalton can just place his car in defensive positions all the time and effectively stop Tom Pottage from overtaking outside of Tom Pottage being very aggressive and basically barging his way through. Is not the only way he could possibly do it. Sebastian has dropped behind. Oh no, I'm thinking the wrong thing. Robert Nygaard has got in front of Rico. That's what happened.
Rico's car looks a bit damaged at the front there.
Yeah, I don't know if he got involved in that earlier or recently, but
I don't recall seeing that damage before.
I know, because Rico's behind Kovalainen, so yes, he must have an incident because he's fallen behind and Nygaard's got in front of both the Porsches.
Yeah, that is true. Also, the gap between Verstappen and Kovalainen has increased quite a lot, so I think there may have been an incident between Haase and Kovalainen.
Rico is very deep. There. Sebastian Brunier has slipped down as he's behind the KTM of Asphalt. He's about to get lapped by the leaders. Oh. Well, he has been lapped already by the leader. He's got Mike Stoffmill behind him as he lets him through. Just don't exactly know what happened there. It's under 5 minutes now.
Yep.
So
Dalton and Tom Pottage still weaving on the straight.
it's just a cycle of life at this point, you know, like getting up, paying taxes, Beth and Tom Pottage and Dalton weaving on the street. Whatever the saying is, I can't remember off the top of my head exactly. I just realised that the how weird the AMG looks without all its GT3 kit on it. I've got very used to the GT3 Mercedes, and looking at without its rear wing and stuff looks weird. Oh, is this the chance? No, it isn't. He's has to go the wrong way, and he get the cut back. BMW's going to power out and get away again, and the cycle continues. It must be very annoying right now for Tom Pottage. He's been stuck behind the back of that BMW so long. It's not exactly pulling away, but you just can't make the move happen.
Maybe he'll see flashbacks to this moment when whenever he comes across a BMW M4 on the road.
Starts weaving with it in traffic, you know, like.
Looks a bit closer this time, but again, not close enough.
As the track is clear now, so there's no more rain on it. The rain was just there to taunt us. Will he have a chance now? They're alongside each other. Of course, he's going to force his way around the outside, but of course, it's going to be inside. Can you get the traction now? You stay inside. BMW's pulled away again.
Looks like no, he's backing out of it.
I mean, if you deal with a clear example of how much more straight line speed that BMW had, just look at the helicopter cam. Alongside each other the whole time for that corner, and as soon as it comes to a straight line, the BMW starts to pull away again. There's nothing Pottage can do.
Yeah, it's a very stressful situation for Pottage right now. Like, he pretty much relies on Dalton and making a mistake, but he's very consistent so far. As there's under a minute left in the race now. So it looks like they're going to get a couple more laps of this. Or maybe not, as Jordan Grant Smith is on the back straight now. So I'm not sure they're going to get another lap. We might have a checkered flag on this lap. I'll keep an eye on that.
He's only got one corner to go through. He's got 20 seconds to do it if he wants to extend this race. I think it's going to be a checkered. I think it's going to be a checkered flag waiting for him.
To slow down right now and just end the race, if necessary.
2, 1. Checkered flag is out, and he crossed the line. I believe he slowed down there. Alex Stoffel comes home in P2. Marcus Lawrence in P3.
Dalton and Pottage again going very closely together through the final corner. But doesn't look like Pottage will have any chance to get past now, as the checkered flag has dropped. And John Dalton will finish in P4 with Tom Pottage in P5.
Gordon Wansink will come home in P6.
Followed by A. Jeff in P7. Brian Molson coming up in P8. Followed by Valentin Mollier in P9. And in 10th will be Christopher Strappen after all. Closely followed by Anton Kivlainen and Robert Nygaard. Rico Hasse finishes in P13 with Sasha Hasse in P14. Thomas Olsen is 15th.
James Butler will be coming home in a bit of stars. Not good on the boards there. The sponsors are going to be very unhappy. As Brock will be the last car to cross the line to go to the final corner right now. The checkered flag will be waving, and that is the first race. So, Jordan Grant Smith takes the victory for race 2, ahead of Mike Stockmore, Marcus Lawrence, John Dalton, Tom Pottage, Jordan Wansink, AJF, Molson, Milliot, and Verstappen are your top 10. Yeah, that was a Zandvoort race, really. I think Zandvoort either becomes complete carnage or a very predictable race, and unfortunately I think we've got a predictable race this time out.
We did have some close action, but yeah, no like major drama or crashes or anything. It's been a clean race. Maybe could have used a bit more action, but there still was a fair amount of action throughout the race, I feel. Maybe more at the start than towards the end of the race.
Yeah, and the rain there, it's teasing us, saying, yeah, it could come out, it could change the race. Never did.
Yep, just stayed at 10% the whole way through, so that doesn't seem to have really affected the drivers in any meaningful way. But we did have someone other than Mark Stoffmel win the race, so that's very exciting.
That's
hopefully a sign of things to come.
Yeah, our Grant Smith did a very good job this race. Just stayed out in front, just kept the race under control. Really, is what you need to do in these races sometimes.
Yeah,
you need to cause drama.
Yep. So I hope everyone watching enjoyed the race. If you did, we would really appreciate if you could click the like button and subscribe to the channel if you want to catch our future races. So next week we will have the GT3 series at the Nürburgring, and then in 2 weeks time the GT4 series will be back at Paul Ricard. So subscribe if you want to see those.
Yep, that'll be us over again. Yeah. See you next time.
Goodbye.